making sure it looks, I want you to understand how it works, not just like robot sewing, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew the princess line together. Now, if you notice, this is basically all one seam, but we're going to do it in 2 steps. We're going to do pocket, and then we're going to do princess, and they're going to meet in the middle, okay? Because you almost need to leave like a little bit of a hole so that you don't get a pucker. You probably could do it all in one if you're really neat and everything's clipped perfectly, but it's just, you could. That's a good question. You could do it that way. We're going to do it in 2 steps because that's what I want us to do that. So that's a good question though. There's always different ways to do everything. I'm showing you one way, and I'm also following the instructions. Sometimes I'll throw in my own 2 cents, like this is how I would do it. So there is many different ways to do things though. And you guys should start, really look at your clothes, like when you're wearing stuff, or go in your closet and be like, do I have a jacket with a vent in the back? And look at it. How do they do it? Like the jacket I'm wearing today is exactly the same way we're doing the skirt. But look at different ways. There's other ways to do a vent. So try to really pay attention now that you're starting to understand all this stuff and you know how to sew it. You can be like, oh, that's another way to do that.
What are you sewing now?
Now I'm sewing the princess line.
Okay.
Now I'm sewing it. Remember I stopped when I sewed the pocket on? I'm sewing exactly to that point. Going right to that point. I clipped a little bit sloppy. Now this seam allowance is 3/8, remember? It's not a quarter, it's not half. I think I clipped a little bit big, so I'm going to sew to make sure I don't leave a hole. So I'm stopping right at that point where I sewed before. Make sure that you back stitch here because it's a tension point. So I sewed all the way down right to the opening here. The rest of it's still open. Now we're going to sew from here to here. In the instructions they tell you to go down, start at the bottom. I'm going to start here because I want to make sure I start at the right point. So, and if you're really good at this, you could probably go the whole way. But we're going to do it in 2 steps. So I'm going to start right at that point. No, you just need to do one.
Oh.
So you can actually cut half of it for the front if you want to. For the back vent, you do need to do both sides. Alright, so now I'm starting right at that clipped point, and I'm going down the other way. Let's look at it. Hopefully it looks okay. So here's my corner. Yay, that looks good. Okay, so hopefully everyone's... So my goal here is not to have a pucker. Really, it's kind of difficult. That's why we want you to do one first, okay? So that will press nice and flat. Right. So we came down this way, and then I reconnected it. You could go the whole way if you think you can, but you may get a pucker in there. It's easier to do it in 2 steps, okay? You're almost leaving like one stitch of a hole, so you don't want them to overlap. You want them like this, okay? Okay, so now that this is correct here, I can sew the other side, alright? So now I'm sewing the pocket, the other side of the pocket bag, okay, up to the opening. Now, what you want to do, let's say my notch was off a little bit. What I really want is for this to lay perfectly flat and not pucker. So let's say, hopefully everything works out, but if you smooth this out and your notch is a little bit off, don't force it, because then you'll get like all kinds of weird fit, and it'll buckle, okay? So smooth it out. You can go ahead and press it, make sure everything's flat, and then go ahead and do the other side, okay? It's all about, you know, it should look correct, and, you know, it could be that, like, when you cut, the fabric slipped or something, but you don't want to force it. Now, this seam allowance on this side is what? Because it's the side seam.
Tap and shut.
Someone put tape on this, I think. There it is. So I'm only sewing up to the top of the opening. And then I'm going to stay stitch it onto the side seam. Okay. So then, after I did that, I'm going to stay stitch this whole thing down. Okay? So everything's nice and flat. And all looks nice. So stay stitch at 1/4 inch. So everything should be nice and smooth. When you do this for real, all of this is going to be pre-overlocked. Okay, so it'll all be clean and everything will be nice. All right. Now you're going to go ahead and press the seam allowance here open. If you look, you can't go completely all the way. So what you're going to do, what we want is the pocket seam allowance is going to go flat. The princess line is going to get pressed open. So you're going to go ahead and you can clip into the seam allowance here so that you can release it and press it open. Alright? And that's it for the pocket bag. So it's not too bad. Getting this clean is a little bit difficult, so definitely practice. If you feel like the thing is, you need to show me a good sample, so if you totally mess this up, you're going to have to do another side. So you might want to cut two. It's up to you. If you feel like you can handle it, you can just do one. But you need to show me like a nice sample so I know you can move forward. So what's nice is since we're doing everything